Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Dorkside Cookies. And today, I'm going to talk about how you can win with Great Cthulhu in Cthulhu Wars. Cthulhu fhtagn. Hey everyone, so in the most recent 4th of July weekend, we played a 5-person game of Cthulhu Wars. And it was pretty epic. I think that might have been the first time I played 5 players. I can't wait to play 6 or 7. It's a great game, especially with more people. But I noticed that Great Cthulhu didn't win. And didn't win by a lot. And Great Cthulhu, regardless of player, has not done great every time we've played. I haven't played him, so I've played as his opponent enough times to have some ideas of what I worry about and what I hope that person doesn't do. But I'm going to open Pandora's box and I'm going to share some thoughts, share some ideas, and hopefully nobody who watches this video plays me again as Great Cthulhu. All right, so Great Cthulhu is a bruiser of a faction. They're great in melee. They manipulate the behaviors of the other players, and in general, they do well steadily. They don't have this epic turn. There was a turn in the last game I played where Hastur, he who shall not be named, rampaged across the board and definitely put the Black Goat, Shub-Niggurath's faction, several turns behind, all in one go. It was brutal. That's not really Cthulhu. What Cthulhu does is Cthulhu is the slow tortoise. He just works steadily towards victory. And I'm going to talk about some things. Let's talk about what he has going for him, and I'll highlight things that are fearsome for his opponents as I'm going. So first of all, the unique ability of Great Cthulhu is immortal. And it says, once Cthulhu has awakened, he costs only 4 power each additional time he is awakened. Whenever you awaken any Great Old One, gain 1 Elder Sign. So there's a couple things there, right? Number 1, he is the cheapest Great Old One of any of the Great Old Ones that I know of. And that means that you can just throw him into battle and you don't really mind too much if he's destroyed. If he's destroyed, number 1, for 1 cost more than most people's most powerful monster, right? Most of the powerful monsters are 3. He only costs 4, so you only cost 1 more than them. Number 2, every time you awaken him again, then you're getting an Elder Sign. So you don't want to do that in the beginning, right? You don't want to sacrifice really most of your units. You don't want to sacrifice, but later in the game, when Great Cthulhu is going to give you an Elder Sign for 4 power, and the Rituals of Annihilations are going to cost 8, 9, 10 power, you're gonna want to hold off. So you're not going to want to use that much power to get, the things for the gates and then Elder Sign necessarily. I mean, do it if it makes sense, but that's like a different story. So the other thing is that if you're playing with any of the independent Great Old Ones, boom. If you're Cthulhu, I think you want to get those independent Great Old Ones on your side, because when you awaken them, you also get an Elder Sign. So that's huge. It's easy to forget. And that's That's just, you're just giving up points, right? If you forget it. So don't forget that. Okay. Let's look at his spell books. Devolve. I think Devolve is the iconic power for Cthulhu. It's it and Dreams are the two fundamental powers that make your enemies afraid. So at the end of any player's action, even if it is not your turn, this is Devolve. Transform one or more of your acolytes into a deep old one. Just into a deep one. So boom, anywhere on the map. Now you have a monster instead of a cultist. That's what it does. Generally, that means that as long as you have some deep ones in your reserve, no one can capture your cultists. That's big. That's big enough that, like for Chochos, their faction abilities, that their cultists, when they get captured, they give 0 power. It's huge. This is something you don't want to give up. Okay, Dreams. Choose an area with enemy acolyte cultists. Your enemy must eliminate one and replace it with one from your pool. So if you have a cultist in your pool and you're just like, hey, for 3 power. So it's not cheap. Hey, Black Goat, your guy's having a dream. He wakes up and now he worships me. Boom. Now, not only did Black Goat lose a cultist, so now he's going to have 1 less power next turn. But now I have 1 more power next turn. Of course, I spent 3 for it, so that's not a huge win. But I'm controlling his gate. That's why it's crucial that once Cthulhu has dreams, nobody else can leave their cultists alone, because they get to choose. So if they had 2 cultists, they would, they had 2 cultists, say this was a cultist, you'd be like, dreams, and Black Goat would just, do it like that. That doesn't make any sense. So you spent 3 power and they're going to get 1 less power, but then they're just going to spend 1 power to resummon it, and you're going to get 1 more power, but you spent 3. I don't like it. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But Dreams, single cultist controlling gates, suddenly they need 2 cultists. Everybody should have 2 cultists controlling every single gate, or they're not playing right. Sorry. And usually that means Cthulhu's not playing right because he hasn't punished someone. The moment he punishes someone, he's going to punish people all game. Just keep taking their gates. So that Dreams and Devolve, that's it. Like, that's your bread and butter. All right. Submerge. Submerge can be very fearsome. It's normally more fearsome later in the game. This is why. For one action cost 1, if Cthulhu is in an ocean area, remove him from the map, and any friendly unit, any or all, right? He doesn't have to leave, take all of them, but any or all the units, and as a later action, pay 1 power to move them all to any other area. So in the beginning, it does mean everybody has to be afraid, right? Like they put 1 little monster out in North America West and a gate. So obviously Cthulhu's going to show up. You have to devour one of your units. The cultist can't survive on his own, so of course you're going to devour him. Win or lose, uncontrolled gate. That's it, right? That's fearsome. It is fearsome. It's not great in the beginning of the game, and it's not great because you don't, as Cthulhu, you don't want to be on land because it's, 1, to move him and his like other units, whatever. But then it's 1, 2, 3 to get back to water. So it's not great. You're gonna be slow. So on the other hand, somebody dares, especially Hester, they come from Europe, they try to go into the water. It's a very strong play. They should do it. But it's Cthulhu's job to protect his water. And so you spend 1 power, you submerge, we spend 1 power again, you attack, you take the gate, you spend 1 power, you submerge again, you spend another power, you reappear Indian Ocean, punish Black Goat for doing something over there. 1 power, that's how it's supposed to work. That's why Cthulhu rules the oceans. He does. All right. What else do we have? Everything else it's not key. They're nice powers. They're fine. They definitely are part of the winning strategy of keeping up with effectively the other factions, which get more powerful than Cthulhu. That's what I feel. I feel like later in the game, Nyarlathotep, Yog-Sothoth, these ancient ones are big, they're powerful, and they sort of bat Cthulhu aside. But you use these other powers, the other spellbooks, and he can survive. And of course, if he dies, he only costs 4, and he only has to roll 1 kill to kill Yog-Sothoth, for example. So who cares that Yog-Sothoth is 10 power, 12 power, 10 combat dice with 12 combat dice, whatever. Who cares? Because he's still gonna die to Cthulhu. Whereas Cthulhu, if he uses these spellbooks, might survive. So what do we have here? 1, we have Regenerate. Apply up to 2 battle results to the same star spawn when taking losses. If both losses are kills, the star spawn dies. On any other combination of kill or pain results, the star spawn retreats. So Cthulhu, it can feel like he doesn't have a lot of survivability. And in fact, he's cheap, so they expect him to be awakened multiple times, right? But if you want, you can bring in the star spawn as protection. So that's a thing. In my experience, the dice are you have to roll 6s, and so on 6 d6s you might get 1 kill. On 10 d6s you might get 1 kill, might not, you might get 2 kills. So having a single star spawn with Regenerate can definitely swing the battle into your favor of helping you save whoever it is you're trying to save. Absorb. If a Shoggoth is present, eliminate 1 or more of your monsters or cultists from the area. For each unit so removed, add 3 dice to the Shoggoth's combat for that battle. So, that could be huge. It can be huge. It can help you to take out a more numerous enemy, right? You only need 1 kill to take out 1 enemy, but you can, if you're facing Black Goat and he's got his swarm of monsters, killing 1 monster isn't going to do a lot for you. That's where a Shoggoth can be really good. There's another component. I'll talk about Absorb and why it's so valuable in a moment. Ya'nithle. I don't know. During Gather Power, if Cthulhu is in play, you gain 1 power for each enemy-controlled gate in an ocean area. So later in the game, real estate is tight, it's scarce, and people are going to start moving to the ocean. And Yellow King might move to the ocean right away, but for the most part, I think partially psychologically, but partially because Cthulhu is scary in the water, you just stay out of the water. But later in the game, suddenly gates are everywhere. And that, if you keep Cthulhu alive, gives you power. That's big. It's really big. Easily forgotten. You need to not forget it. It just, it is interesting because you only get that power if other people control the gates in the oceans. But that's how a lot of Cthulhu Wars stuff is that you get something for what other people do, and it sort of can act as a catch-up mechanic, right? So, at any rate, okay, let's talk about absorb and what Cthulhu has the biggest problems. This is what happens. So, you start with all the cultists. And then, you're doing stuff and you're building gates and whatever. And somebody shows up and you're like, ha ha ha, devolve. Okay. Summon another cultist. Devolve. Summon another cultist. Devolve. And you keep summoning your cultists again. And then suddenly, no more deep ones. At this point, you've kind of screwed yourself, because with no deep ones, suddenly your cultists have no protection. In your pool, no deep ones in your pool. Deep ones themselves are only combat dice 1, right? Like all the minor monsters. So they don't do anything. Not really. And what do you do with these things? Basically, what I see happen is people hope their deep ones die. And they get frustrated when the other players intentionally avoid killing the deep ones. Also, dreams is a lot less scary if there's no cultists in my play area, in my reserve. So if this happens, all the cultists on the board, all the deep ones on the board, nobody cares about Cthulhu anymore. They don't. That's where the Shoggoths come in. You need the Shoggoths, you need to use them, and you need to use their absorb power. So, the Shoggoth shows up with maybe 2 deep ones, and he just eats 1 deep one. That's going to give you +3 combat dice. That's going to put you at 5 combat dice. And you still have a deep one to absorb a kill. Your enemy's probably going to get a kill. I always feel that way anyways. I always assume that way. And that kills another deep one, right? And now suddenly you have deep ones again. You have to use them. If you don't use them like this, you're going to suck as Cthulhu. That's the primary tactic. If you're not using Shoggoths to get 3 combat dice, it's just not a good gameplay experience. Meanwhile, if you're not using Shoggoths that way, you're probably going to be frustrated when people don't kill your things, and then you're just like, well, the other players aren't playing right. No, the Shoggoths give you a way to sacrifice your cultist, your deep one, everything. Do it. You need to do it. You need to be aggressive. Cthulhu is a combat faction. You're not Yellow Sign hiding, desecrating things, right? That's not you. You are Cthulhu. You're the Great One. Cthulhu fhtagn. You need to eat some things. And some of those things need to be your own creatures. And then you need to send dreams to your enemies, capture their things too. I feel like Cthulhu's a little expensive. You have to do all these things that cost power, but Shoggoths are cheap. Only cost 2. Deep ones are free because you're converting your priests into them, and priests give you back power. So as long as they survive 1 round, you're right. Priests basically free. Cthulhu can have tons of combat dice. If you're playing in a high, with the high priests, if you're playing with the high priests, you should be pretty easily able to get Cthulhu out second turn. Again, once you have him out, he only costs 4 after that to put out. That's big. Something I did to Cthulhu last game that kind of screwed him pretty pretty hard was as Yog-Sothoth, I stole his home gate. Don't let your home gate get stolen, guys. You need a gate in the South Pacific to summon Cthulhu, right? That's his thing. It must be a gate in his starting area. Don't let Yog-Sothoth just steal the gate. I play to win, guys, and then I tell other people how to win. But it's how you do it. That's how a good friend does it. But it's so interesting. I mean, you need to be guarding the ocean, not because you don't want them there, because you really probably want them in the ocean. You just want to be able to have those victories and take away their resources, so they have to spend power to rebuild, right? Other than that, you should have at least 2 spell books, I think, by second turn. If you don't have 2 spell books by second turn, at least by the end of second turn, I really think by the beginning of second turn, and then I really think you definitely should have 3 spell books by end to beginning of third. Well, beginning of third turn, at least by end of second turn, you probably should have 3 spell books. Cthulhu's crazy, right? They get a spell book at the end of the first Doom phase automatically. If they killed a unit the first phase, they get a spell book. If there's 4 gates in the ocean, or they control 3 gates in the ocean, they get a spell book. And oh wait, when they awaken Cthulhu, they get a spell book. Everybody's like that. I think everybody's like that. But then, if they've achieved 5 spell books, they get their 6th spell book. It's kind of dumb. I mean, basically, I think they need their spell books so badly that they just give them all to them. So, that's it. You need to leverage your Shoggoths. You need to never have no deep ones in reserve. You can't have them. You can't have them all out there. It's nice if you always have a cultist at home. It's nice just to threaten people. And that's it. That's how I would win playing Great Cthulhu. So, with that, I really want to open this up. Statistically, Cthulhu players win less than anybody else. That's just the facts, guys. They win less. So, if you're a Great Cthulhu player and you win a lot, post down below. How do you win? Do you disagree with me? Like, is there a particular strategy you think that I missed that you need? Share it down below, because I will definitely promote it. I want to promote basically a more fun game for the people I play with who choose Cthulhu, because he is iconic, right? Cthulhu, he's in the name of the game. He is powerful. Why doesn't he win? Not just my games, it's other people's games too. He wins like 20% of the time. instead of like 24, 25% of the time, the other factions. So love if you post it down below. And I'd love to know what other faction that I could kind of give a summary of. Yeah. Or a different game, like a different type of faction, maybe Terra Mystica or something like that. How do you win with the witches? You don't, guys. You don't. Don't play the witches in Terra Mystica. All right. Bye, guys. Until next time.